Hello. I realise there's probably nobody who's not watching the Kelsey Fitzsimmons stream. But I can't do that. I need to watch it after it's all over so I can fast forward through all the breaks because I am not patient enough. Also, I have to be really quiet because my son's trying to sleep. He's got to work tomorrow. So what I want to do today is I think I'll just use this screen. I want to go over where we're at with everything. Why is that window not showing? Live. Let me get the right window up. This one. All right. That's not what we want, is it? That's not what we want either. Hang on. Stop. Right, let me just do a screenshot. That'll be the easiest way. I don't know why PDF Gear is showing us an open menu. For some reason it is. I'll just screenshot what I want to do today. Capture that. Stick it up on the screen. And I should probably grab let's grab that. I should grab the legend so I know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, that's better. So, this is my 12-point chart on what we've uncovered with these files. So, in some cases, it's not all of the files that have something weird going on with them. In the case of the Ring cameras, for example, I'm just doing an analysis right now on the second Ring camera of interest, but so that might end up being more than one Ring. So this column here is the Ring column. This column here is the dash cams. I've done 4 dash cams, 1 Ring, 2 voicemails in the same report, and then I've done all of the CCTV now. So what do these numbers mean? So these numbers here, these are categories of anomalies. All of these, all right? So number 1, I'll go through them one at a time. Number 1 is basically evidence manipulated or altered. All files where I found evidence was manipulated or altered. That's what that means. So in row 1, all of them, literally everything I looked at, but not all of the rings. So in the driveway camera footage, we have, I think it's 106 rings in that folder. I don't remember the number exactly, but it's something like, it's over 100 anyway. There's only 2 that I'm finding anomalies in. I could dig further and probably find more, but there's only 2. And and wouldn't you know it, the 2 that it happens to be in are the 2 that were used as evidence in trial. All the other 100 and whatever Ring cams are pretty clean and pretty much still have their metadata from Amazon Ring attached to them. They all were processed through FFmpeg, which is not raw ring footage, how you're supposed to present evidence in trial. So they all got that in common. But the two I'm looking at now are the 5:07 a.m. footage where Karen Reid reverses into John's car, and then she takes off and heads over to Jen McCabe's place, and then Jen McCabe detours her back to John's house. And that's the second video. There's a lot of anomalies in it. We've already gone through in a live stream the visual anomalies, what we can see visually. But right now I'm looking at ways to express that forensically. So what we can see with our eyes is not necessarily a forensic finding. So I'm going to try and do, otherwise that file looks normal like the other ring files. That's the return back to One Meadows with Jen and Kerry. But we also know that there's one of those missing. So this is the return. They get out and they go in to find John under the couch or something. Who knows what Jen McCabe was thinking. And then they come back out again and head over to 34 Fairview. That part of the video, that's missing. That's not in any of the files, and I'm pretty sure that was not handed over in court either to the defense. So that's two ring files that are missing now. That's Karen's return home to One Meadows just after midnight when she logs onto the Wi-Fi at 12:36, and then the 50. Let me have a look. I'll tell you what time it is because I'm pretty sure Jen McCabe's GPS or wherever Richard Green got these times from, they leave One Meadows at 5:52. So they arrive at 5:46, which this video is timestamped as, like the file name is timestamped in Unix, but when you convert it, it is 5:46 EST. The one that's missing is when they leave One Meadows at 5:42. There is, in fact, no other videos until around, I think it's 7 or 8 in the morning. So this is going to end up being a B1 and a B2 column by the time I'm finished. As long as I can find a way to map what's been done to that video, because at this point it's still just visual observations. But I did find 4 separate segments of cut marks where the video was cut up into 4 different segments. So that's a finding. So there will be a report. I just don't know what it will show. What I wanted to do was go through this little diagram here, the matrix, we'll call it. This is the anomaly by report group matrix, and just explain what I found in each of them and what that means that was done to them. In all of these cases, it seems like what was done to them was prior to them being exported out of whatever export. So, you know, with the ring cameras are all in different formats. So we got the library is ring exe. The library is in a exact vision exe container. And then what was D2 again? Temple Beth is also an exe container. D3 is library Temple Beth. Oh my god, hang on, let me just go back to my list so I can tell you freaking order I got them in. Library, Pequisite Farm, that was the next one, and it's, sorry, I got that backwards, sorry. Temple Beth is in MOV format. That means someone opened QuickTime and exported out of QuickTime. So that obviously that's not raw. So it's got multiple things wrong with the Temple Beth. Pequisite Farm was the exact vision, the other exact vision. And it has different anomalies to the library footage. It even though, well, I think they're actually different cameras, but using exact vision, or the DA's office took the footage and processed it through exact vision, because it's the exact same version of exact vision used in both. So it probably, the point is that all this stuff was done prior to it being exported out of whatever thing it's being exported out of. The dash cams were not exported out of the DVR system. The dash cams are all WMVs, which is not what the dash cam system would record. There's literally no metadata on any of those. And then the ring camera, which we'll get into, because this is probably the best one to show you what all was done, basically, to all of these files. So, number one, all of the dash cams, the ring, the VMs, and all the CCTVs all have alterations of some form or another. And done prior to them being exported into the formats that we're looking at now. So what that means is that it captures that you can't hide these fingerprints. Even if you re-encode, you're not hiding what you've done to them. You're making it harder to find, but you're not hiding it. So there's that. Okay, so that's it. Everything has been altered in a meaningful way that the binary is telling us. Not what I'm looking at visually in the footage, but what the binary tells us. And it just so happens that all those things that we noted visually tend to match up with the alteration spots. So that's weird. That doesn't just happen, does it? Okay, so number two, again, everything in thank you, DJ. I'll see what I'm missing when I watch it later. I just don't have the patience to sit through it's smoko time. Oh, the judge is going to have a white claw break. Okay, number two, content deleted or absent. So altered is a little different to deleted. When it's altered or manipulated, it's we're saying the binary doesn't match what we're seeing visually, or the binary doesn't match its own timestamps, or something along those lines. So most of these videos, the timestamp that we're told and what we see on the screen, if at all we see one, doesn't match what the actual frame says. When the camera writes every single frame to the DVR system, the camera writes its own internal time onto every single frame. So what we find is an inconsistency in the header of the file that says this is the timestamps. They don't match every single frame in the file. They're all altered. So that's different to content being absent or deleted. So in some cases we have content that is, I'm trying to think now. So here in dash cams, we have some AI content. We've detected some AI content. It has a very specific binary signature. And you can see the stitch marks where they've taken that segment of footage out of the original footage, put it through the AI, and then inserted it back in. So that's where there is content, but it's altered. When we have content that's deleted, well, it's not there anymore. What we do have, though, in many of these files is pointers to where those frames once existed. So this timestamp was attached to frame number, blah, blah, blah. But that frame's not there anymore. So we actually found that type of anomaly through all of the files. They all have a mismatch to their timestamps, to their stated timestamps in the binaries. So category number 3, section, is re-encoding or transcoding. So any type of any footage that's not raw, for example, that should have all got ticked here because it's not raw. So obviously it's been re-encoded. The D1 was definitely re-encoded, but there's no specific signs of it in the exact vision exe. Same with the other two. So the other exact vision, no specific signs of it in that one, but there is a specific signs of it in the, what did I say D2 was again? In the D2 footage, Temple Beth. There was some signs of FFmpeg post-processing. So this is actually supposed to be in Hikvision NVR. That's the type of camera that recorded it. Some of the fingerprints for the Hikvision NVR are still in the Temple Beth MOV files. It didn't get encoded out of it, so I can still see some of that. What else did we have? And then the Casey's Corner Store was way hard. The problem I've got with trying to work out what's going on in the Casey's Corner Store, that's the D4 column here. The problem I got trying to work out what's going on with that is that it's all broken down into 5-minute segments. So all of these other ones are at least 1-minute segment where there's several symptoms of cuts and joins. But the Casey's footage is all broken down into these smaller segments, and so it's much harder, and it's also in a completely different file format to everything else. I think these are WMV, Mulaney's an MP4, the ring cams are WMV and MP4, the voicemails are obviously AMRs. These are the file types I'm talking about. exe, move, MOV, forget what 3 was again, exe, and then this one is a whole other kettle of fish. It's called GeoVision, and it's shipped out with the entire software, which I can't show it to you on my computer because it won't open it on my computer. So it's Windows specific. Exact Vision is not Windows specific. I can download the Mac version of Exact Vision and open the library exes. But I downloaded the GeoVision, which is the D4 group. I downloaded the GeoVision. It runs on my Mac, but it won't open that library. And then I have a Surface Pro, which has Windows 10 on it. I was able to open it over there. I actually found it was completely, well, not completely, a good portion of it was unplayable because the little database in GeoVision was broken. So someone has gone in after they did the extraction with the GeoVision. Someone has gone in and changed the databases, like completely stripped them. They're actually empty. There's no rows in the databases at all. So I basically found how the database, the structure of what the database should look like, and then went and found all of the timestamps for all of the files that it should have in it so it plays consecutively, and rebuilt it all. Actually, that is something I haven't done. Let me just go try that. Since I did the rebuild, I haven't tried to run that program. Hang on. Where is it? GeoVision. There we go. Recording manager. No cameras. Do you want to start searching? Nope. But I want to share this with everyone else so they can see what I'm doing. Replace it with GeoVision. So let me go open. Open the rebuilt folder. God, I've got so many videos here. I have no idea what I'm freaking looking for. Casey's Corner. SB. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be opening this way. Oh, I know, because I fixed the database. It's like this. Utilities, I think. Yeah, it's still not seeing anything in that folder. So there you go. There's your proof. Can't do it on Mac. And it's because it's been burned with Windows. It wasn't burned with the Mac version. So I can't do anything with it. I can play it on my Surface Pro and that's it. But anyway, I rebuilt that file. Let's go back to our diagram. I rebuilt the Casey's Corner so that it plays all of the files that are in its folders. Both databases were paired for both days. So there's a 28th period and a 29th period. So just before midnight and just after. Just before midnight is the first period, and then from, I think it's like just before 5 a.m. is the second period. So it all plays in one player now instead of separate folders and all the garbage. When I went over the Casey's Corner footage, I don't know if you watched that video, but I did publish a video. I thought someone had screen overlaid a clock counter onto the footage. Turns out someone did, but it wasn't who I thought it was. So the currently circulating Casey's Corner footage is something that either Corey or someone Corey got to build for her out of this player. So that person who did it has overlaid part of the interface where the little clock's running. So that's what that is. And I thought it was Colleen Crawford pulling tricks on us. But the thing is, there are some tricks pulled on it. So it does have evidence of pretty much, everything in our list, which is this D4, this D4 column. Anyway, I've also rebuilt the Exact Vision, took it out of its exe wrapper. I took the foil wrapper off the chocolate. That's called the UPX wrapper. And then I took the chocolate layer off the soft center, and I have just the soft center now. So you don't need the exe player to see the original footage. On top of that, the timestamps don't match in the library footage. The timestamps in the frames themselves don't match what's showing on the screen when you play it in the exe player. And I'm guessing nobody's surprised about that. So that took some work. Like, that took some real effort on Colleen's part. She had to rewrite. She probably got AI to do it for her, but she had to rewrite all the timestamps to some other time period that she wanted them to be. Where she screwed up was that missing section of footage where in court you heard, I forget who it was that brought out the missing section of footage. Was it Yannetti or Jackson? I forget. But yeah, that the missing 2 minutes, I think it was nearly 2 minutes of footage from the library footage. It's actually still referenced in the file, in the binary. There's still pointers to it. It's just that the actual frames that were there are not there anymore, but the pointers to those frames are still in the file. But here's what I did. I dropped it out of, I'll play it for you. Library 12 a.m. camera E0. That's channel 0. I think that's the one we want. Let me just check. Yes, restart the playback. All right, let me put this one on the screen for you. Pause, back to the beginning, share it. BLC. All right, what you're going to see is subtitles across the bottom. And what the subtitles across the bottom are telling us is that these are different times. It's going to be down here, the subtitles. These are different times to what Exact Vision says that they're happening. They're out by, I forget the total amount. I have to play them side by side to tell you, but let me just close this one up so we don't crash it here. All right, so if you watch these cars, so what I did was I put them at a certain spot, like right on that traffic light, paused it and got the timestamp from the frame. So see how the frame numbers are ticking over? Each frame has its own timestamp. And then I measured what the offset was to the Exact Vision timestamps. So in the Exact Vision, it's running its own internal clock. And you can tell that because you can switch it from the local source time, which is Massachusetts, or I can switch it to my time with daylight savings and tell you what time that was in Australia and what date. So that's computed timestamps. So that's what she messed with, the computed timestamps in Exact Vision. This here is the actual timestamps when the camera took this image and saved it to the DVR. This is the timestamp it put on them. And it deviates over a period of time. And obviously it deviates a lot over a period of time, essentially. I think we end up with 80 seconds, 87 or 84 seconds deviation at the point where the footage, the 2 to 3 minutes of footage is missing. It's 104 seconds. According to the frame counts, it's 104 seconds that's missing. So that's what I did. This is now not re-encoded from Exact Vision. This is just the Exact Vision footage dropped out of the chocolate wrapper and the chocolate coating. This is the gooey center inside that those two things are wrapping. So nothing changed. So every single frame here is a a hash match to every single frame in the EXE footage produced by the FOIA request. Every single frame had its own hash number. That was something else that we found. We found some of the hashes in the frames matched other frames. That can't happen. The camera can't. Every single frame is a new write for the camera. So no two frames ever have the same hash because every single one is a unique file, a unique frame. Yet we have matching frames. So that tells you that someone copied some frames from somewhere else and pasted them into some other part. But that's not visible in this particular footage. So that's what I had to do with the library footage to wrap my head around why everything was so screwed up. Good morning. I'm playing this while I write reports. Good on you, boomer balls. I just wrote 130-page report on all this. I freaking hate writing reports. But yeah, I got up to 130 pages on all of this stuff. So in amongst doing all of this, the analysis and then dropping the frames out, that took me like almost 24 hours to work out how to drop the frames out and wrap them in a wrapper that would play without changing the hash values of the original evidence. So, and these are things that they should be doing, right? If I want to prove to people that this is not my reburned copy, then I need those hashes to match. Every single frame has to match what was delivered. And that's what they should be doing in presenting evidence. Every single frame should match. Every file hash, the outside file hash should match, and everything inside of that file should match. But they don't. So Matt probably helped with that since he was hired by Norfolk County Courthouse. I don't think Matt's smart enough to do this stuff. Honest. Like, I see the intelligence level just come out in his pattern of speech, the way he talks, the way he communicates with people, and all that sort of stuff. So I don't see this level of tech coming from Matt. This is definitely a Colleen Crawford level of tech. This is forensic level tech to do all of this. So how I think she jimmied this file was she jimmied with the timestamp table, but not inside the file timestamps that the camera wrote. So that's what she's done here. Jackson's Superman, he's hitting hard. The Leslie's Batman can't outsmart him. Karen's Wonder Woman, she's fighting. And Aussie's Oracle Batgirl. I saw you write that somewhere else. I wasn't sure if it was on X or in the comments on YouTube, but thank you. Batgirl, Oracle Batgirl. I don't think I'm Oracle. I'm just reading what's in front of me. I just have the expertise to read what's in front of me. So that's the only difference. I don't feel like I'm being an oracle at all. But anyway, that's what was done in that file. So let's go back to where we were up to. Let's take you back to checklist. So that was number 3. I think. Did I just describe number 3 in detail? Number 3. Re-encoding or transcoding. Right. So the whole point there was that this stuff is all done to all of these files have been tampered with before they were transcoded or re-encoded for FOIA. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send all these reports through to Team Read. But what I'm going to suggest they do is check their own files, because I can't tell you if they've changed more just for the FOIA production. There is, in fact, a tool that they're supposed to use to redact things like, number plates, personally identifying information. I'm just going to say PII from here on in. If you want to know what that means, it's PII, because I can't get my mouth around personally identifying information every time. But anyway, there is a PII tool that they should be using to redact, things like number plates and whatever, and it has motion tracking in it. That's all they should be doing. But that's not what, I don't know, Anne. That's not what we've got here. This is a complete re-encoding into formats that these cameras did not produce. All right, because no cameras do WMV. Like, hello. No cameras produce MOV files. Mostly all cameras produce MP4 because that is the universal camera format. That's the universal video format. If you want to view these on any device, MP4 is the standard. So most cameras export to MP4. The one I found that doesn't, because it's a way older camera, is the Casey's Corner camera. I think it comes from like early to late 2000s. I think it's that sort of era, like early to mid 2000s. It's that era camera. It's only showing us 340 like phone size images, phone size footage. That's the resolution. It's like 340. Like even newer phones do more than 340 pixel resolution. So that's the only one that doesn't fit into the it should output MP4. It actually does output what was common or standard for the time, AVI or AV. I don't know which one you want to call it, but I call it AV. It does it. It outputs all of it in AV format. But the problem is, when I grab those videos out of the chocolate wrapper, so to speak, they only play in GeoVision's exact encoder. So I can see them, they're just blank. you can't see the actual video. They'll play and they'll play through the right amount of time. There's just black screen because you need the GABC codec from GeoVision to put the image on the screen, to put all the frames images on the screen. So I don't know why you can't hype my video. Oh, only after it's live. Thank you, Paul. There you go. Just to answer that question, Anne. So no problems, older than that. Thanks for joining us. Okay, what number were we up to? That was number 3. We finished number 3. Re-encoding. Number 4 is synthetic or AI content present. So you remember through trial when that try the AI for free thing popped up on Hank's screen? That was funny. He kind of dogged himself in there. So we know they're using AI on their videos. So whether they were just using a free version or not, I don't know. But AI content was found in Seraph, Good, and I've forgotten what my number structure is again. I don't know why my head's going blank. I think it's just because I'm recording. Seraph, Ray, and Good. So Good and Seraph shared the same car, so Unit 682. Good had it earlier to go to the scene and do the roo-roo. Then he drove it back to Canton. Ray jumped into it and went and did the welfare check. It has 2 different types of meddling going on in there, essentially. So in the Ray section, it's the AI content. So it looks like they've used AI to make Karen's tail light look different. So in trial 1, when we first saw Karen's tail light, it just looked like it was covered in snow. But in trial 2, all of a sudden you could see the contours of the shape of a broken tail light. That wasn't the same in trial 1. But it was difficult for us to work out at this end whether that was just because the cameras used in court to film the screen in trial 1 were different to the cameras used in court to film the screen in trial 2. It might have just been high quality camera used in trial 2. So again, this is only something that Karen can do on her own production, trial production materials. But what I suspect she'll find is that in trial 1, the Good and Ray dash cams will be different to trial 2. If at all they reproduced a new set for trial 2, I presume they did. I don't know how that works in America. Like in Australia, they would have to reproduce all of their evidence all over again for a second trial. So I don't know if she has a trial 1 production and a trial 2 production or what she has. So good to see you, wonderful. I do that often myself, watch it on the big screen and can't be bothered typing in the chat to go between the big screen and the chat. So enjoy. So yeah, so number 3 is the synthetic or AI content. Now, I can't say for sure that it is synthetic or AI. I can just tell you that it's consistent with what you would expect to see in synthetic. And we did that by pixel matching. So we just run like a pixel scan over the section. So first of all, I do a full binary scan and pull out any anomalies where metadata doesn't match timestamps, the tables don't match, or something doesn't match in the binary to what we're seeing on the outside packets. The inside packets and the outside packets don't match, that sort of thing. When I find those anomalies, every single time they just happen to be in those spots. Like for Ray, as soon as Karen's car comes on his street, he's driving from Canton all the way to One Meadows. Nothing in that first section. As soon as Karen's car comes on the screen when he turns into One Meadows driveway, bam, there's a cut point, there's friggin' AI signatures, there's shit all over it. So that's what I'm seeing, like literally every time. So the AI is in Ray, Good, and Seraf's videos. Mulaney's comes out fairly clean, although there is still some structural problems with Mulaney's that are different. And that's because his is MP4 and it was completely re-encoded with a full stripped everything out of it. I had 2 actual videos where everything was stripped and it was hard to tell what was going on with them. When that happens and I can't see frame numbers and things to measure it by in the binary, that's when I have to go to a pixel match. So then I take a group of frames, a group of pictures. Your frames are all sorted by iframe at the start and then a whole bunch of P frames. Between each iframe is called a GOP, group of pictures. So I take that group of pictures where I can see that anomaly, like Karen's tail light comes onto the screen in as Ray's pulling in to One Meadows. So I take that GOP, the group of pixels, right at that point, and then I run every single frame in that GOP and pixel match everything. I also do a match on the hash values because each frame, as I said, has its own hash value because each one is supposed to be unique. So I run the hash values on them. I do the pixel mapping on them. And even some where it still passes the pixel mapping scan, I can still detect it because things like flatlining chroma balance, for example. I've got a couple of those here where the segment that I think might be AI or cut has either side of it normal color levels and brightness and contrast levels. They're all at normal levels. But then this little section of cut, all of a sudden it flatlines or it peaks to the top. So those are signals of changes in the screen. And if they flatline, there's no change in it. It's just flatline all the way through. Where all your camera footage is all over the place. It should be spiky and up and down. You should have brightness and contrast and all those values, red, blue, and green, are all moving very fluently throughout your video footage. Then we get to these segments where shit's done to them and they either flatline or they spike. So that's 2 different ways that I can corroborate the same finding. I see in the binary there's an anomaly, so then I zoom into that anomaly. Maybe I can't see anything by zooming into it, but maybe if I measure the pixel mapping, the pixel density, the brightness, the contrast, then I'll get some more out of that sort of section. So that corroborates your finding. Sometimes you get both. Sometimes you get the pixel mapping is different, the hashes don't match, and you've got flatlining or peaking levels happening in the color. So that's basically how I've worked through all of these. They've all been put through the same tests, the same set of tests, every single one of them. So I have not changed the way I do my testing on any of these files, and that way we're coming out with consistent results, and we can see consistent patterns like we're seeing with the tick marks here. So they had many chances to get Karen legally. Albert's neighbours ran at library, Sallyport, all tampered or missing timeline. Karen, yes, Karen is innocent. Exactly. That's what we're proving here. Not just proving that she's innocent now, we're also proving that not only is she innocent, but they cooked all of this digital evidence. Now we've got so in the court case that she's doing right now, she has to prove, I'm not sure about the malicious side of it because that's for public figures, that she has to prove that this was all done on purpose, that these are not just anomalies, that all of this was done on purpose to frame her. This is her evidence that it was all done on purpose to frame her. So she's going to win. Based on this, she's going to win. Number 5. Let's go to 5. Timestamp anomaly or displacement. We just talked about that whole timestamp thing. How, the outer packet timestamps aren't matching the actual frame content timestamps. I just showed you displacement by showing you the library footage. I couldn't put 2 on the screen at the same time. This stupid thing only lets me share one screen at a time. So I couldn't show you both side by side to show you the displacement. There is up to 85 seconds displacement in the library, the 2 cameras, and between the timestamps on the frames themselves and what's showing in the player. Number 6 is metadata. Metadata stripped, destroyed, or absent, and it was literally on everything. The only ones I think that really pass that test are going to be the oh, there you go, that one. Oh, that's the only one that passed. So D4 is Casey's Corner. It still had some of its metadata, and I'll tell you why, because the metadata for the GeoVision isn't necessarily written into the AV file. It's actually written into all of the packaging that goes around the AV files, the GAVC codec and the player and all the DLLs, all the driver files and everything that are packaged into that player. So that one's a lot harder. Like, nobody's deconstructing a DLL file so that they can jimmy with the metadata in there. So it's far too complex to do that. And that actually does show you the limit of Colleen Crawford's knowledge and skill. If she wasn't prepared to dig into the DLL and do some kind of deconstruction to jimmy the metadata there. So I think they even tampered with the phone calls from Canton PD. You can hear the caller talking while phone is ringing, but is silent in between rings. I took the phone out. The phone tone out. Sounds like Proctor. Interesting. I'll have to look into that one. Thanks for that tip. I haven't actually been through all audios. I have done a quick scan on the audios for any just an outer layer scan on all of those audios. So I haven't actually dived in like deep into the binary, but they all pass on a surface scan. But then again, so do all of these on surface level. Most of them are coming up with anomalies here and there, but nothing specific. So I'm not going to say that surface level scan is the be all to end all. But I might do that. I might dive into those a little bit more. Right now, we're working on the video, which is a completely different thing to the audio. Audio is a lot easier, incidentally, because it's just like I was talking about with brightness and contrast and colors. Those are specific levels that you can measure throughout the entire audio. You can measure the channels, the audio channels coming through, just like you can with color and brightness and contrast in video. So, but thanks for that, DJ. I'm going to look into it since there's stuff that you've noticed there. Anything that people notice, I'm looking into it. I'm just doing it in a specific order. This is a 130-page report just on these things on the screen here. So I'll get there. So what are we up to? Number metadata strip destroyed. So 7. Coverage gap or non-production. So coverage gap or non-production. That's basically number 7. Let me look. We've got those ones and well, pretty much everything except Mulaney. Coverage gap or non-production. So videos that were not produced. We know there's ring cam. We know there's two driveway ring cams missing. Karen's returned home and they're heading off to 34 Fairview. Those 2 are missing. So we know that that one's got coverage missing. With the Good, Ray and Seraph cameras, there is quite a bit of coverage missing if you look at the way the timestamps lined up. So in my last live stream, that's the first thing we did. We looked at how the timestamps just can't match no matter which way you do it. They do not match a normal ticking time. They're monotonically out of sync. So that's one of the examples. That's cool. And you didn't even have to catch me live because you can be the replay crew. I know there's a lot that are watching the Kelsey trial right now that will be on the replay crew. So you do. And I'm not even going to say it's your system of governance that's corrupt, Surfs, because ours is too. I'm starting to learn the hard way. So 7, what was I saying about 7? Coverage gaps and non-production. Yeah. So because we know that the timestamps can't match monotonically to a normal 1-second tick, we can't get any of them to line up. We know that coverage is altered and some is deleted. So we've got 7 rows here checked, but we've also got the deleted rows checked. So that tells you, 2 things about those specific files. In fact, everything is checked for those dash cams. Literally everything is checked for those dash cams. And nearly everything is checked for is that Temple Beth? D2 is, yes, Temple Beth. Nearly everything is checked for Temple Beth. So those are the most corrupted files out of everything, if that makes sense. The ones where they're nearly checked all the way through. Temple Beth. And then all of the dash cams. And of course the ring footage of Karen reversing into the car. That one's probably matches the amount of corruption going on with these ones. And when I say corruptions, I mean anomalies, okay? I'm saying corruption as in file corruption. Things don't match in the files, in the binaries. All right, what's the next number? 8. Number 8 is file structure corrupted or anomalous, which we just mentioned. They all got something along those lines. Number 9, anti-forensic tool fingerprint present. So anti-forensics is stuff like using FFmpeg on raw camera files. That's probably the most common one that I found in literally everything. Almost everything. Everything had been through FFmpeg and then got transcoded either through players or as a WMB format or an MP4 format or whatever. So they all had fingerprints of FFmpeg, but that's one type of anti-forensic tool that you might use if you're trying to be anti-forensic. Anti-forensics means frustrating the investigation process. When you have so many anomalies in the same file, it's hard to pinpoint what's going on. The only way we can pinpoint is by continuing to study the next file and the next file and the next file where those anomalies occur. Then we get the pattern. But they're frustrating the anti-forensics because they're mixing it up a little bit, which you see here in these 3 dash cams all have similar anomalies, but then Mulaney's is an outlier. It's a different file format. It's MP4, and it was harder to find any anomalies in that file because it was such a different structure, and they were different anomalies. So you can see that anti-forensic approach trying to frustrate how an investigator might look at each file individually. You might actually come to looking at just one file to the conclusion that, things are weird, but it could be just that file. But that's the point of this table here, because things are weird, but it's not just that one file. And now here's the pattern. here's how she distributes the weird things that she does to the files across different files to frustrate the investigation. And that's what anti-forensics basically is. And there's a lot of different tools for FFmpeg, just one of them. 10. So row 10 is multi-segment assembly. So this is where we see, cut marks. And the one I'm working on right now is 4 different segments. This is Jen, Kerry, and Karen pulling up at One Meadows, running in the house to see if John's under the couch. This is 4 different segments for this particular one. And I found that with the other ring one as well. It's multi-segments. I also found that in the Ray and Good. It's multi-segments. So when Good's got the vehicle earlier, there's different cut segments going on to later on when Ray's got the vehicle. So we kind of have like this cut segment. We have a bit of normal video, a cut segment, then this bit of normal video looking at Sallyport Wall, then a cut segment when Ray goes to do the welfare check, and then a little Ray's is actually cut all the way to the end. So there's that pattern. In this video that we're looking at now, I think it's similar. It's like a cut at the start and then 3 more segments, and then the end bit is actually not cut. Everything's pasted back in and the end bit's the same. Stuff like that. So the reason I'm looking at that particular ring is because when we were looking at frame by frame, we noticed that John's tailgate never gets snow on it. It's maybe 5 frames out of the whole 65 seconds. John's tailgate may have a bit of snow in the foreground, but like weird shit with the snow in the foreground. Totally weird shit. Let me show you one. Let me go here to the desktop. Let me have a look. Yeah, this one's a good one to show you. Actually, I'll just open 1, 2. Thought I had more than 2. Let me open these 2 in the preview app and then move that window for you so you can see it in these 2. See how this snow is heading across the screen and it's cut off at the tailgate. So what I'm studying right now is that this tailgate, like this area, and I think it goes down here, this whole area is cut out of other footage. You can even see where it bleeds a bit around where they've cropped it. But anyway, this area, see how that snow just goes, I'm not going through the tailgate. That's one of them. In this one here, it's coming through in the foreground, but look, it's not on the tailgate. So what that tells me is that this is cropped out and it's sitting on top of the original video. And this snow is in the original video. It's in the background. So that tailgate is on top of it. So that's just two examples of, what we're studying here. The problem that I got with this analysis is that this is all visual. It doesn't actually show up in the binary. All I can see is the cut segments. I can't see where the edits are made in the actual frames, which I can see in others. Like I can compare, I can do pixel comparisons in the others and find which frames were edited, like finding AI, for example, signatures. This one's a lot harder because it's snowing, because it's blizzarding, because they reduced the quality so bad, they compressed it so hardcore. That's what all these squares are all over the screen. That's major hardcore compression. And doing all of that actually reduces the visual element of seeing something like this. But if you go frame by frame through this whole video, that tailgate is on top of snow nearly the whole time. There's very few frames in there where the snow is actually between the car and the camera. But these are just some examples of that. Examples of the why I think she's doing multi-segment assembly. So take 4 segments. In this segment, I need Karen's car to pass through John's tailgate seemingly normally. So that's one segment. And then this other segment, I need John's tailgate to seem like it's got some blizzard happening over it, but it doesn't. It's a very weak attempt. That's just an example. So that's 4 different segments all plugged together. In the ring, I forget what it was with the ring. Was it 3 segments? I think it was 3 segments in the ring footage, in the reversing up and hitting John's car footage. I think that one was 3 segments. So a middle sort of segment cut out, altered, and then put back in there with a 650 millisecond freeze frame because she mistimed it. So, all right, let's go back to our diagram again. Back to our diagram. There we are. What number were we up to? That was row 10. So yeah, like everything except 2 videos matched multi-segment assembly or multi-staged assembly. So it could have been with some of them, we got the footage from like Casey's store, then we brought it back to the DA's office, and then we altered some shit, and then we ran it through the GeoVision exporter again a second time. You can see all those dates. You can see they collected on the 2nd of February. They did a geo export on the 6th, and then they did another one to delete all the databases on the 9th. So that shit's still in there. So that's also a multi-assembly process. So row 11, everything has independent timeline destroyed or suppressed. Either destroyed or suppressed. We covered that already in the row 5, the timestamp anomaly or displacement, same thing again. And then row 12, which we only found 3 of those, operational records cleared or non-functional. And that was in I just got to remember what my rows are again, columns are again. library, D3 and D4. You guys are probably remembering them better than me because I'm thinking of so much stuff I cannot remember what's what. D3 is Peckwiset Farm and D4 is Casey's Corner. So those three exhibited the because they're in players. So if you screw around with the databases, remove all the rows in the databases, then the player won't place certain things. It won't do what it's supposed to do properly. So that's what row 12 is. So I'm going to wrap up now because my son's trying to sleep. He's got to work tomorrow. But I just wanted to do a short one so that we all understood what was done exactly. If you want me to be any more specific than that, I am purely going to speculate, and I don't want to go into speculation territory. We can all observe the videos. We can see stuff's not right there. And so look at the 075904 EO and 074545 EO calls, and for sure just wanted to mention it. Well, it might be noticed. You're the best. No worries. I'm going to look into it, DJ. I'm going to have to copy that now, and I have to do it over here. I have to copy it. Control C and paste it into a note. There we go. Copied. Thank you. Well noted. All right. That's it. We're done. I have to go or I'm going to get yelled at. Dude's got to get some sleep without me making noise in the background. So you'll hang in there. I got some more content coming. I've just been really busy doing all of this. We're going to do a 130-page report, hopefully. No, I'm not going to do it that way because it's all techno-babble and you won't understand any of it. But I am going to try and condense my 130-page report down into as basic English as I can. These little live streams that I'm doing now are sort of helping me wrap my head around how to explain it. I can do it in my head, then when it comes to being on camera or having the mic going, things fall apart a little bit. So this is sort of part of the exercise in pulling it together and how to explain it in plain English. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one. Go and enjoy your Kelsey